Grell Knights are considered to be the pinnacle of what a human warrior can become, blessed by the Lady and supernatural in their abilities. If they fall in battle, they are given grand funerals and their souls go with the Lady of the Lake. They were thought to be a kind that could never be tainted by undeath. That turned out to not be true thanks to the Dread King, one of the original Dark Lords of Nagash. Black Grell Knights are the resurrected corpses of 12 long-dead Grell Knights of Bretonnia. They are among the mightiest undead to walk and fight on the old world. That explains the origin of our Black Grell Knight, Louis of Brent. Upon returning from the Southland's Crusades, the powerful young crusader continued to hunt down bandits and hedge knights alike. His bloodlust was noted, and over the decades since his return, he would give up his mortality and become an unliving, unholy depiction of his former self, who now fights for a king, a future king, who believes in non-stop warfare, that being the Red Duke of Mousillon. The Fey Enchantress wanted a peace treaty, and we gave it to her, and I'll tell you why. I could conquer every single location here, but it wouldn't really matter. Because I do not have vampiric corruption, public order would be a nightmare to manage, and those towns are underdeveloped. If I let them develop and I begin to corrupt them, then when I come back later, they'll be fully functional and easy for me to use. So instead, we now have only two enemies to worry about, Artois and Coron, led by the King of Bretonnia, the Duke of Coron, and the King of Bretonnia. The Empire has been very busy, and look at the King. He's currently away from home.
No.
Look at him, level 11. He's very powerful. Here's Albion right over there. And now it's time for the Red Duke to get ready for a new campaign. Karl Franz, I believe, is fighting the orcs I'm friendly with, the Skull Smashers. That's why he's out here. Pedavon would not like to fight me. Clan Scryer declared war on the Fey Enchantress. Well, that's really good. And we've encountered the most powerful of the factions over in Ulthuan, Lothern. We've completed some technology too. Right over here, economic investment. We get 10 more growth and 15% more income from all buildings. Next, we'll be working on obedient servants. Public order, minus 50% penalty due to presence or lack of corruption for all provinces, and plus 2 to public order. So public order will not be an issue. I'm trying to pick that up. That way when we conquer, I won't have to sit there and wait for things to stabilize. It is not unknown for the living to seek out vampires to serve them, but in truth, many live under the dominion of their undead lords in the lands of Mousillon. Whether they want to serve them is another matter. It doesn't matter. Not to me. Shine my shoes or I'll kill you. Don't shine my shoes and I'll probably kill you anyway. It's great to be a vampire. So now we move.
Then go.
Lyonesse would be a target, but we have a treaty with them that will have to wait. I wonder, are they attacking the High Elves? If they are, then they're potentially a great neighbor to have. Adelhard, that could be very good for me. I don't want to fight the High Elves, and I know eventually they'll come for me. But if you fight them, hey, do it. So we're now upgrading Aquitaine. Mousillon is fine. I can't upgrade it any further. I wish I could, but I cannot. Let's have a look over here. I can't pick up a Necromancer. That is true. But I can get a White King. I don't have a White King right now. +2 to melee attack and +2 to leadership or tactician. More of a leadership aura effect and a larger leadership aura. Or I get another Black Grell Knight. And I'll tell you why I want to do that. I'm going to use him on the field. He's got a trait here called Devious. He's got a higher chance to succeed, and it's cheaper to use him.
Paladin of Bretonnia.
Oh, indeed. Now, if I give you Specialist, it'll be cheaper for you to operate. You'll have a higher chance again to succeed, and it will be incredibly cheap to use him on the campaign map. So we will use him as an agent of destruction. I can't say chaos, but destruction and evil. And we can go out to scout out things too. Now we get to end our turn. Topodo was destroyed. Well, they didn't last for a long time. I'm sure their lovers are unsatisfied. Okay, talking bad stuff about the dead. Surreal, come on now. Well, I'm dead. Huh, anyway. Ally mobilizes against settlement. Skull Smashers are now going to Langui again. Well, thank you. I didn't tell you to do it again, but if you want to, feel free to. No matter who you fight, that will benefit me. You could go to Coron. That's an option. Maybe I'll kill Kimmler and take his land. I mean, if you've got... He does. Oh, look at that. Castle Drachenfels Catacombs. What a powerful location. Yeah, I kind of want that. I'll think about it. Gisero. You're tier 3. Not bad. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want.
Noble son of Bretonia.
Oh, if you could wound that paladin. You failed. That's okay. I mean, it's really not okay, but for now it's okay. You could increase public order. Very good. I don't really want to give you that armor. I won't be using you in the campaign field for a long time. One day, sure, but right now, no. I could afford another once I have the dark magic for it, but now the Red Duke will move to Gisero. Artois, where are you? Did you lose your army? I doubt you did. You're probably close by. Ah, I see. Do you have walls? If you have walls, I'll fight it out to be fair. Because he does have a few quality units. Okay. We could certainly do that. And I would lose way too many if I auto-resolve right now. I don't want to lose that many because I don't know where he's at. So let's go fight a battle and destroy Bien Armistead. When the Duke is just pretending to be one of the boys. No, that didn't really work out very well. I like how whenever he does a stretch, a power stretch, people die anyway. We're in a siege battle right now. The Red Duke excels in a siege battle. There's very few who can match him in singular combat. I mean, look at him. He's a blood dragon. You can see that right now, they don't have the numbers to hold me back. In a later siege battle, when they do have the numbers, it will truly be a challenge. But until then, poor people are about to get hit by stones again. It's going to be fairly brutal. We're going to have Crypticals climbing up now. I thought that maybe their units would be isolated and they wouldn't come after my Crypticals. That is potentially wrong. But here comes the Red Duke. Getting ready to say hello again. Or to walk right through them. That's another option as well. Another dukedom will fall to the Red Duke. He's really the Alpha Duke, if you want to call him that. There's a few other names that we can think of for him as he begins to dismember poor people. It's really the peasants that bear the brunt of all of the excesses here in Bretonia. It's an awful stratified society to live in. Though there are merchant houses who do very well, they just, in terms of status, would never be considered to be more than, but there are some dukes who have to treaty with them, because, I mean, that's just the reality of it. Let's look down here now. Our armies are on their way. Sure, it takes a little bit, but eventually they'll all be over here. There's my fox-firing archers. More infantry's climbing on the walls. The idea is to surround them and to hit them at various points. And that trebuchet is continuing to launch people off the walls. Not to mention, I often use it to attack enemy lords. And these crypticals are getting knocked down, but they still deal a lot of damage to lower armored units. That head just popped off like a cork. The Red Duke of Mousillon. You've got to imagine the opposition is really wanting to put an end to what's happening here. But whenever you have that type of unhappy people, what would happen? They might even rise up. It might not be logical to us. Oh, Vampiric Lord. That doesn't sound good. But as some Sylvanians put it, they're taxed a little bit less whenever they're under their new Vampiric Lords. And who knows? Maybe things would be better for a lot of the peasantry under the Red Duke. Maybe he'll be more fair. I would see him in my heart potentially being honorable in a more twisted way, as many blood dragons are. He wouldn't want to betray people in the same way that he was betrayed. That's how I would view him. So he's coming here to right wrongs. He's here to break down a system that does not work. One that saw him killed. I mean, if there was any icon of devotion and loyalty, it was him. He was a grand crusader. I like how all of them are doing a little dance over here. That's a fun dance. I don't understand it, but I'm also not a bone man. They're beginning to break and run. Tactically, there's nothing else for me to really show you. My troop positioning doesn't really matter. I mean, they're just climbing onto the walls. My trebuchet is currently leaving the map. I like to get rid of units whenever they have no use for me, and so a trebuchet does not. It's only one, but still a thing that I do from time to time. In case I ever misclick and tell them to charge forward with their trebuchet in hand, trying to hit people with that. Foot squires are close by, being cut up. The ghouls are back over here. Still fighting and losing way too many, but they're surrounded right now. There's only so much that they can do. When it comes to the main gates, knights have moved in. Our Black Grell Knight is currently fighting with all of our horsemen, as he always does. That's part of his job, it's part of what he's good at. A broken statue of the lady, how fitting. And so there's a group of Knights of the Realm who waits behind. Our Black Knights now charge in. And there's very little to show for it, friends. Very little indeed. When it comes to a contrast of strengths, my blood dragons are more fitting. Imagine if you were immortal and you had nothing but time to practice what you love the most. Combat. Honorable combat. Again, Invocation of Nehek being used on every single unit possible, like Crypt Ghouls. Most of the wall has been taken. Most of their units are now destroyed. It's only one siege battle. I just had to give them a fair shot at taking lands. Or at least defending what was once theirs. There's a headless warrior attacking them. That's when you know you're in trouble. These foot squires are being cut by 1,000 stabs and slices, and I think now they're finally beginning to break. I think it's really it for them. They're like, pardon me, excuse me. Red Duke is surrounded. Though they're trapped here with him. His men-at-arms flee. With one hand, he throws a spell. With another, he cuts at another foot squire, and the battle's over now. We have won. A good, solid victory. If it wasn't for the Red Duke, we would have lost our group of Crypt Ghouls, but now they get to march a bit longer with us. Why don't we occupy? Again, these are our people. A shield of Tolos that can be very good for a flying steed. Sure, that's when they could shoot at me more. Do you have your armor, by the way? We'll check on that in just a minute, Louis. Louis, it's time for you to pick up Woundmaker again. Icon of Devotion is what we're aiming for. Now, Red Duke, you can pick up Honor or Death. If I give you that, you'll get an 11% damage resistance buff. That will nullify all types of damage. Where you see magic resistance, naturally it's only for magical damage. If you see physical, only for physical damage. And then there's missile damage too. Here, damage resistance nullifies all of it. It's very good. Alright, we can go down that route. Our tree line up here to improve our combat abilities again. But no, we're getting very close. In 3 levels, we get to get a zombie dragon. Let's get heart piercing. Using a combination of their great strength and amazing speed, it's easy for a vampire to create a gap in their opponent's guard. I've gone over the actual buff for it. Oh, you have Marienburg. Marienburg could be very good for me. Now Vampire Corruption is going up. Hopefully in one turn we'll be able to take Artois. I don't know where his... I mean, he's got to have one. Well, to really find out, we should look at who he's fighting. No, he has no real army at all. He's fighting Baston and me.
Lord of...
Now, Baston, it's time for me and you to try. I doubt you have very much money at all.
As you say.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. So now we're getting trade income, 213. The actual vassal tribute is only 29. They're very poor. You know what? I might even give him land. I might give him Montfort whenever I own it. Just to let him have his own land. I like Bohemond Beastslayer. He's a good guy. Now, we end our turn. If the Skull Masters make it over to Couronne, that would be a huge benefit. In fact, we could change their target to maybe Grung-Zent. Karon wouldn't know what to do. There's a lot of public order issues over here due to the vampire corruption, probably from Kimmler. Good job, Kimmler. Skeleton Spear Warriors. Ah, very good. You've got Spearmen. And over here, zombies. Yeah, you don't really have too much. You really do not.
What do you want?
But now it's my turn to go to Artois. The actual castle, Artois.
Kill them, raise them.
Oh, another battle that I need to fight, but I feel like I want siege towers for once. They have a field trebuchet.
Destroy them.
I have one too. Yeah, why don't we do that? Let's get our siege tower together, and while we wait, we can try to kill someone, wound someone. Okay, you felled again. I don't like that. Stop felling me. Why don't we prepare an actual White King? You know what? We'll take you. Oh, he's pretty happy about it. But I'm going to use you on the field of battle for a time, so you'll get specialists too. Then, we can have all these agents out there causing issues for me. He's a mighty one. There's not much more for me to do. Aquitaine, what do you need right now? Income, you say, in public order? Oh, indeed you do. Corruption is not going up right now. What a shame. Ooh, creeping corruption. I do not like that. Growing corruption, vampiric corruption. They are certainly not happy. The happier they are, the more benefits we get. Right now, we're looking at a tax revenue decrease. We're looking at just a bunch of detriments, and that's why we've got to focus on making them happy. So it might be about time to get Rights of Dominance whenever I have the dark magic for it. For now, let's build up our siege engines to attack Castle Artois. We do not have a choice right now, but to quickly take Artois. Caron had another army. The king is not the only army that's being led out from the dukedom of Caron. Over here, we have Raymond Lancer,
No!
and he's coming to fight me. My goodness, Bretonia. You do have some fight in you. Now we have a challenge. Before we handle that challenge, I've got to level up my agents and quickly. The Empire is all over our lands right now. In time, we'll fight them.
By the comet.
There will be a great vampire war very, very soon, but I've got to now take more land. I did not anticipate the Empire coming over here. Now you two have a job to do. Get over here. Sure, they won't like it, but I will.
I will not.
In the long term, if I can get these two at a very high level, they will be a huge benefit to another army once I get one. I can get Assault Garrison. Yeah, I'm here to kill garrisons. These two shall do that for me. And now, we have no choice but to go into Artois. Even though my siege towers are not done, we've got to go do it. Let's go kill Bohemond Letard and a paladin, in addition to all these other units too. And so we march. Now here is a battle to worry about. Here's a battle that gave me pause. The Red Duke is able to march in due to the work of his field trebuchet. But they have many soldiers here. Many pious men who are willing to fight him for prolonged periods of time. It's different when you have the sufficient numbers to man your walls and to plug up any gaps in your defenses. So the Red Duke is the very first one into combat. First one to go in, last one to leave. This is his mantra. Fighting is fun for him. It's not like he just, had it given to him. He earned it. We have foot squires and a lord close by, or at least a paladin. Brave man, one might say. But what I would say, probably not. He's hiding in a corner, waiting for his men to do most of the lifting. To try to get inside of a fortress, of a castle, with proper pathfinding, is also a huge challenge. If they would go through where I would tell them to go through, it may have been easier to flank them from the sides where I produced more gaps, but in the future, I'll just climb up the walls and take my time. The Red Duke will be here for a long time, fending off that portion of their forces. Elsewhere, when we have time, when we're able to, we'll break down the front gate. Once we break down the front gate, we can charge in. Even with my knights alone, the blood dragons should be sufficient to take on the men-at-arms and foot squires alike. For the size of my army, you can see where we're at right now. We have units moving up to help out what we have already engaged on the front lines. And the rest of my units, if you haven't properly seen them, let's have a look at them. So these are humans. They're just not very healthy looking humans. In fact, they're in relatively bad shape. That guy had a dried up hand on his waist. Very strange, I don't approve. More of the same over here. More minions of Mousillon. I'm just doing this for those of you who have not seen these fellows, and to show you how ill they look. It isn't good. It isn't good at all. From behind, we have more of our undead, all waiting. They actually look better. They look healthier. Sure, they're bony, but they look healthier. You didn't miss too much. It's a siege battle. What else is going to happen? I'm going to siege. Here comes my bandits of Cholon. They've got a debuff, and they're decent. They're not meant to be in a prolonged fight. They're not meant to fight forever. But they'll do their best. And so they fight there. The entire goal is to make the Red Duke more powerful. It's to empower him further. It's to provide a strength for him that others cannot forget. We have over here more foot squires and more bowmen. They don't really have much of a shot at beating us in the long term, but in the short term, what is really noted in this battle is that they're going to be able to damage my army. My poor army is going to suffer casualties that I won't be able to replenish right away. And there could be other enemies who are close by who want to fight as well. The Red Dragon, the Red Duke, the Blood Dragon, he's got an ability called the Hunger, meaning that whenever he's in combat, he begins to replenish health. He doesn't take a lot of damage. And so because of that, in a lot of our battles, he stays at near or at full health. He just kind of fights forever. And we are not making any true headway. It's been a very slow ordeal trying to fight through these lands. It has not been easy. The foot squires make it challenging. The foot squires make it difficult. But we are trying. The archers are nearby. They have a paladin on the wall, which means that other character was a lord. He's just watching over the battle. His archers still dealing a few losses to me. The zombies are falling apart. Their condition is palpable. The Red Duke, he is around, though we have not broken through yet. Over 2,000 men are here, and I can only fight so many, but now it's time to fight a leader of theirs, the Lord. He's wanting to avoid the Red Duke. The Red Duke is trying to shimmy and shift over to him. When he's all buffed up, when he uses everything to fight, see the difference in strength. One Red Duke, hit him. His health is going down, and quickly too. And even those who stand near him are dying. They're trying to reach each other, but it's hard to have a duel in the midst of so many bodies. Ah, look at that, he dove in. Invocation of Nahek, again, an attempt to keep our undead minions alive. I know that I had one group leave. They were taking far too much damage. Our pox arrows are not able to hit their archers, not easily. Maybe a few might get hit and die, but not nearly enough. Over here is where they have plenty of soldiers. A few of my own knights were killed. Trying to charge in was difficult. So instead, a smarter idea would be to bring a trebuchet over and to let that trebuchet break down the gate, or to potentially attack through this gap in the wall too. Our Black Rail Knight will go fight with them. And if we have a look back at the front lines, there's some pox arrows that are raining down upon them. It was a nearly frustrating experience, but I do applaud them for giving me a stern defense. I don't always get those. Usually it's so easy to win. It's so easy to just pull one fast on them. But here, no, they said, hey, we're going to hold today. A lot of them are dropping. They're chanting. They're trying. And all the while, more magic being used. That lord, he fled. The paladin remains. They're fighting in the corner right now. They still have more archers, and archers, if they're allowed to hit my lesser armored units for a prolonged period of time, my god, the damage they can deal. You'll see that in like later battles as well. So my knights are cycling charges while my Black Girl Knight keeps all of them busy. That's the idea, is to keep them all busy. The Blood Dragons, well, they're having a nice time. Even those who might be dead, who knows, they come back later. They're vampires. It's a group of vampires fighting. It's not just a bunch of undead, simple undead. No, these are vampires too. Former men. It's a corruption, a reflection of a darker part of a man's spirit. What do you do when you give them power and immortality and a need to sacrifice others for their own well-being? A vampire. Just not a emotional vampire, please. I don't want them to drain me of my spirits. The foot squires, but we're finally making headway. I mean, even though they have foot squires still holding us back, we have more units from behind who are trying to stay alive. More are pouring in now. So if we get a good view of what's going on, the majority of my army has been committed. There's no choice but for everyone to fight. And it hasn't been easy. We've had so many easy battles to begin our campaign, but that's when I began to notice, oh man, they're actually empowering themselves. They're becoming more powerful. I did pick up that one modification to level up enemy lords over time. That way I wouldn't outlevel them, and they would prove to be a challenge, or will prove to be a challenge for now and in the end game too, because usually my lord is twice the level of everyone else's lord by the time we get to the end game, but now they'll all be that powerful. So I'm going to be in trouble. If I get any new lords later on, I'll have to get any enhancements I can in order to level up those lords from the very beginning, because they won't be able to challenge higher leveled lords. It just will not work out. They will die, and quickly. Black Girl Knight is still fighting over here, and now finally many of them are breaking. It took a long time. Usually I would cut through parts of the siege, but for many of you who like to watch siege battles just play out, I wanted to do that at least one time. And you can tell me if you want me to like kind of cut away some of the middling parts, or if you want to see the whole thing. I always read your feedback, so it's good for me to know, but we're finally beating them. We're dancing right through them too. Dun, 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 dun. Just right on through. Killing with thriller is what we do. Now we have the bandits of Chalon coming over. The knights have won the fight. Pretty soon everyone will begin to flee. Every single one of them will begin to flee. They will all leave. They will not have a shot today. There will be no victory for them. So, the battle's been won. There's only a few men-at-arms who remain. We have a look at the entire settlement. We have finally broken through, again with great losses, even though they still endure at various locales, at various points. They continue to fight. So it's not like we were just able to break them and they all fell apart. They continue to persist until the very end. So if anything, they did their own honor and integrity a service for this battle. I mean, here's another group. That paladin is finally leaving. He's like, all right, y'all, I'm going. Have fun. And elsewhere, we finally take the square. I think now, though, they're all beginning to break, so the battle's finally over, and we have now taken a new settlement. That was a really difficult battle. I had no idea they would be able to put up such a firm resistance, but we've been able to stampede over every single army they've sent at me. It's about time they put up a fight, a real fight. I could subjugate him and leave him alone for now, and later confederate with them and have them join me. That's one option. The other option is I take a lot of money, and I gain a lot of replenishment too in the process. I believe that is a choice that I want to make. Sure, we'll do it. Mortal Informer. There are foolish mortals, usually rich, noble, okay, who crave immortality and will be a vampire's willing spy for the chance of damnation. Yeah, same though. Sapper. Okay, we get +2 to leadership when laying siege. Good, good. We now have the force of Arden under our command. Artois is completely wiped out. That gave you a lot of money. We'll take Repressed Mortals, and we'll pick up Right of Dominance in order to make everyone like me a little bit more. That is the goal now. The von Karsteins descend from Vashanesh, Vlad von Karstein, the founder of the Midnight Aristocracy and first vampire count. The von Karsteins are known for their command over the dead, and for the dread they strike into the hearts of the living. So we gain more public order for 10 turns. Let's see, if I were to recruit a vampire, they would have 3 extra ranks. Vargulfs and Vargas are cheaper. And to recruit any skeletal or zombie unit, they have a +3 to their rank. Very good. Right to use.
This better be important.
Oh, look at that beautiful replenishment. I'll be fully replenished in 2 turns after a major fight. Right, the Midnight Ravens, I forgot to pick you up. Sure, you won't help me in a siege battle, but sure, come on down, and I'll pick up some skeleton warriors too. Got all that extra money. Let's use what we have. And I hope that all of you go fight Marienburg. They've got a target now, and they're going to Grungsen, so maybe they will go fight. Well, not Marienburg, but, you know, Kron, who controls Marienburg. There we go. We got it now. The Force of Arden. They will not be happy for a time. Oh, what cool units do I have here, by the way? Black Knights. Okay, I don't have the money for that. I've got a max amount, right? I can expand that allotment later. A corpse cart. Sure. I've got insufficient funds. No, I like where I'm at. I think I like my units, and we're doing fine. I do want more Black Knights later. I think that would be great, or even more Graveguard, but it can all wait. We're going to call it here for right now. Thank you for watching. Do leave a like down below, and look forward to more later on. And as always, until then,